Let's talk about realistic timelines.
You're a voice actor. You're an entrepreneur. You're a VOPRENEUR. Welcome to the Everyday VOpreneur podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover.
Having your voiceover demos easily playable and downloadable on your website is essential. The VoiceZam player lets you do that across any device and browser. There are also options for adding play buttons in your email signature, tracking your listens, and even putting videos in your demo player. Sign up now at voicezam.com/markscott and receive an instant $25 credit. For full details and to claim this offer, visit voicezam.com/markscott.
The VOPRENEUR podcast. Hey, it doesn't suck.
Not as funny as Conan. Not as cute as Seth Meyers. Not as smart as Colbert. But he's one of us, and that counts for something. Here's Mark Scott, the original Everyday VOpreneur.
Hello and welcome to the Everyday VOpreneur podcast, your guide through the business of voiceover. I'm Mark Scott, the original Everyday VOpreneur, back with another summer series episode. What are these episodes all about? These are short, quick hit episodes. I want to give you one good piece of advice and then get you back to doing whatever it is that you enjoy doing over the course of the summer. As you are listening to these summer series episodes, as you are hopefully learning some things from these summer series episodes, and I really hope that you're enjoying them as well, would you do me one quick favor? Take a picture of yourself listening. Post it in your Instagram stories. Let me know that you are enjoying the podcast, and please make sure to tag me at Mark Scott. So I want to talk to you about timelines because this is something that I see a lot in the Facebook groups. And I think that maybe there's a misconception or a misunderstanding about how timelines sometimes work in voiceover. And what I'm talking about specifically is when we see jobs on casting sites, I think we assume, and I'm not sure why, but it seems to be this way. I think that we assume that those are jobs that are waiting to be done immediately. And so casting sites have created this culture where we rush to audition, right? We'll drop everything. We'll run into the booth. We'll get that audition out because if we're not in the first 10 or 15 or 20 people who submitted, then it's all hopeless and pointless anyway. And that culture in and of itself is kind of a drag, which is one of the big reasons why I don't do casting sites anymore. But I think that culture of rush and that culture of urgency has distorted our view on how projects actually come to fruition. There's this misconception that as soon as the audition is done, like the next day, we're going to get booked. And so that's why people are constantly checking their audition inbox to look at all the auditions they've sent, to see if they've been shortlisted, to see if they've got a like or a favorite or whatever, any kind of feedback. And there's an expectation that we're going to be booked right away. And while that does happen sometimes, for sure, back when I was using casting sites, there were times when I posted an audition in the morning and had the job later that afternoon. But it's also not uncommon to submit an audition on a casting site and not hear anything for weeks, or sometimes maybe even longer. And so that's the part that I really want to remind you with, because I think that sometimes we put so much focus on getting that booking, and especially if we get a like or a shortlist, that we start to stress ourselves out because, I've been shortlisted, so I should have the job, right? And so it's been 12 hours, it's been 24 hours. Why hasn't the job come through yet? And so I just want to remind you that clients don't work on our timeline. Clients work on their timeline. So don't assume that an audition today means a booking tomorrow. It could be a week. It could be a month. It could be a year. I've actually seen stories of voice actors who talk about how, I submitted an audition back in 2021 and I just got the booking for it. It can happen. The best thing that we can do as voice actors is to submit and forget. Don't obsessively check 6 times a day to see if the job is still open or if your audition has been listened to or if you've got that like or if you've been put on a short list. The only thing that you are successfully going to do in doing that is making yourself crazy. Because even if your audition has been opened and the posting has been closed, so they're not accepting any more auditions, and they've liked your audition or shortlisted you in some way, knowing that isn't going to make the job come any faster or slower. And so you're literally going to make yourself crazy doing it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you should never check what's going on, because I do think that it is important to periodically check to see whether or not you're getting likes on your auditions, because I think that can be very telling about the quality of the auditions that you are submitting. But I think that checking every single day and then waiting for all of those ones that you've been liked on to turn into jobs, I think that's what's going to make you crazy. And I think we've all seen those posts in social media. Like, I got a like on my audition. Approximately how long does it take for the client to turn around and do this thing? I mean, the answer to that question is nobody knows. You could be working with a small independent producer who has no other middlemen to answer to and is able to make decisions quickly, and the audition may go up on Monday, and the winning talent may be notified on Tuesday, and the session may be completed on Wednesday. Those projects happen. But you could also be submitting an audition for a large corporate entity where there's 47 managers that have to get involved, and there's 16 committees that have to go through approvals, and that audition that you submitted for on Monday in July might not actually have final approval to move forward to until October. And so you don't know, and there's no way to know. And so again, I just want you to relax. Enjoy the process of auditioning. Be grateful for the opportunities that you get to put out there, but don't make yourself crazy obsessing over whether or not the bookings have come. One of the reasons why voice actors don't like to do direct marketing is because it doesn't have the instant gratification of auditioning on a casting site or auditioning for an agent, right? When that audition from the casting site or the agent lands in your inbox, that gives you an instant gratification of a job that's supposed to be happening right now, except that not necessarily. Same way when you're submitting direct marketing opportunities, right? It might take a day for a potential lead to respond to you. It might take a week. It might take 6 months for a potential lead to respond to you. I've had leads that I've emailed that have responded to me almost immediately with opportunities. I've had leads that, one in particular that was something like 8 years before the first job came. I mean, we don't know what the timelines are. We don't know how the project is going to come together. And so making yourself crazy over it, I just don't know that that is the right solution. So at the end of the day, you want to go into the booth, you want to put your best foot forward, you want to submit great auditions, and then you just want to let it go. Get on to the next one. If the opportunity comes, fantastic. If the opportunity doesn't come, at least you're not making yourself crazy, stressing over it, wondering when it may or may not be coming because you got that like or you got that short list. I would take any like or short list on a casting site as nothing more than a positive sign that you're moving in the right direction, that your audition was good enough to make the short list. That's about as much response as you can expect from a casting site outside of booking, and nothing that you do is going to force the booking to come your way. Submit it and forget it. And remember that timelines vary. I landed a brand new e-learning client in January on LinkedIn. They were all excited to get going. They had me fill out a bunch of paperwork to get everything ready. And the first script didn't come until the third week of June, because that's how long it took them to go through their final drafts and various and assorted approvals. And, the subject matter expert has to sign off and this manager has to sign off. I mean, I could have made myself crazy for 6 months because I actually booked the job in January, but that's how long it took to come together. You can experience the same thing on a casting site. Relax, breathe, submit, forget. Thanks so much for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for hanging out. Want more VOpreneur goodness? Jump online at VOPRENEUR.com.